the world, Valentina "Bullet" Shevchenko.
What defines a champion? Is it gold belts, roaring crowds, or the legacy they carve into the bones of history? Or is it something quieter, pain endured in silence, sacrifices unseen, and battles fought long before the cage door slams shut? Valentina Shevchenko's name echoes through MMA like a gunshot in a cathedral. Sharp, clean, undeniable. They call her the Bullet, but bullets don't bleed. She does, and yet she never flinches. From a quiet childhood in Kyrgyzstan to standing as one of the most feared female fighters on earth, Valentina's journey isn't just about dominance. It's about defiance, discipline, and the terrifying beauty of precision. This is the story of a woman who didn't just join the fight, she became the weapon. Born in the shadows of the Soviet collapse in 1988, Valentina didn't come from luxury. She came from legacy. Her mother, Elena, wasn't just a martial artist. She was a Muay Thai world champion. Her father, Anton, served in the Soviet Navy and played professional soccer. Discipline wasn't optional in the Shevchenko household. It was gospel. At just 5, Valentina stepped onto the mat. By 12, she wasn't just learning. She was destroying, knocking out a 22-year-old opponent and earning the nickname that would haunt opponents for decades to come, Bullet. Her coach, Pavlo Fedotov, who still guides her today, saw it instantly. This wasn't a child prodigy. This was an unstoppable force forming. The Bullet's arsenal wasn't built in one discipline. She devoured them all: taekwondo, Muay Thai, boxing, judo, even dance. Not just fighting, but flowing. Precision born in one world translated into dominance in another. She was a symphony of violence with a rhythm no one could match. Hundreds of amateur bouts, dozens of championships, 8 gold medals in IFMA World Championships. She collected belts like postcards, and when she danced on stage or in the cage, her movements carried that same ghostly fluidity, the kind that hypnotizes just before it hurts. At 15, Valentina stepped into MMA. By 18, she was finishing fights with terrifying efficiency, but this was only the prelude. From 2003 to 2010, she rampaged through South America and Asia's lesser-known fight circuits, tearing through opposition with surgical strikes and rare submission finesse. But in 2010, her unbeaten MMA streak cracked, not from a knockout, not even a decision, but a doctor stoppage due to a cut against veteran Liz Carmouche. It was controversial, it was painful, and it was the last time Valentina would be overlooked. The loss lit something beneath her skin, an ember that would later explode into the inferno of her UFC run. After the setback, she disappeared from the MMA spotlight, but only to reforge her blade in Muay Thai fire. The next few years were brutal, intentionally so. She dominated Muay Thai again, defeating champions like Joanna Jędrzejczyk multiple times. She didn't just sharpen her tools, she rebuilt her entire arsenal. Titles kept piling up: WMC champion, K1 champion, South American Muay Thai kingpin. And in 2015, the call finally came: the UFC. Most fighters dream of stepping into the octagon. Valentina stalked in like it was her throne. Her debut was short notice against Sarah Kaufman. No time to prepare, no excuse needed. She dismantled the veteran with frightening calm, though judges, always human, always flawed, turned a dominant, unanimous decision into a split. Still, the Bullet had landed. In March 2016, Valentina faced Amanda Nunes, the future queen of the bantamweights. On paper, she was the underdog. But in the octagon, Valentina stood unshaken. The early rounds saw Nunes press with power and ground control, but in the third, Shevchenko came alive. Calm, methodical, lethal. Though she lost the decision, the world took notice. And something else happened. Nunes looked exhausted, confused, almost afraid by the end. She had won the fight, but Valentina had cracked the code. It wasn't just a loss, it was a foreshadowing, and it lit a fire in Shevchenko's heart that would burn hotter with every passing fight. But destiny is cruel before it crowns. Just weeks before her 2016 clash with Holly Holm, Valentina's coach Pavlo was shot in a robbery attempt. He nearly died. Most would have walked away. She stayed in the hospital, watched him bleed, nearly lost the man who shaped her. But then, from his bed, he told her, "Go fight. I'll be in your corner." So she did. She took all the pain, all the fear, and she carried it into the cage. Against Holm, a world champion boxer, Valentina put on a clinic. She made Holm look ordinary, calm, calculated, ruthless. Every strike a message, "I am still coming." Momentum built fast. Next came Juliana Peña, a grappling beast. They said Valentina couldn't handle the ground, so she proved them wrong by choking Peña out cold. It was a statement. She didn't just fix holes in her game, she turned them into weapons. That submission earned her a second crack at Nunes for the bantamweight belt. The rematch at UFC 215 in 2017 was a razor-thin war. 5 rounds of chess, violence, and fury. Valentina danced between bullets, fired back with counters, defended takedowns like a wall. The judges gave it to Nunes. Valentina didn't hide her rage. "She didn't hit me once," she said. The world debated, but one truth emerged. The bullet had never looked sharper. But the real legacy began when she dropped to flyweight. There she wasn't chasing belts. She was building an empire. Her debut? A massacre. Priscilla Cachoeira didn't stand a chance. Valentina took her down, beat her, and choked her nearly unconscious. Then came the title bout against Joanna Jędrzejczyk, her old Muay Thai rival. They said Joanna's speed would be a problem. It wasn't. Shevchenko shut her down in every range. Standing, clinch, ground. She didn't just win the title. She sent a message, "I am the queen now." And what followed wasn't a reign, it was a reckoning. Jessica Ai was the first to challenge her crown, and she left on a stretcher. That head kick knockout, still played in highlight reels as a warning. Next came Liz Carmouche, her old nemesis, and Valentina erased the ghosts of 2010 with a dominant, bloodless dismantling. Then it was Katlyn Chookagian, outclassed everywhere and stopped in 3 rounds. Jessica Andrade, a tank of a fighter, was taken down and broken. Jennifer Maia, controlled. Lauren Murphy, destroyed. Taila Santos finally pushed her, hard. Shevchenko survived a backtake, fought through adversity, and clawed out a gritty win. But whispers started. Had the bullet slowed? Doubt is the cruelest opponent. Silent, invisible, and relentless. After the close win against Taila Santos, the air around Valentina began to shift. No longer was she seen as an indestructible goddess of violence. Cracks were rumored. Whispers of vulnerability circled the MMA world like vultures. Was the bullet finally slowing in its chamber? Enter Alexa Grasso, a skilled striker from Mexico, calm and unshaken. But to many, she was just the next victim. When they clashed at UFC 285, what unfolded was no ordinary fight. In round 1, Grasso boxed brilliantly, outlanding the champ. In round 2, Valentina roared back, grappling, grinding, dominating. The tide seemed to have turned, but then she spun. The spinning back kick, a weapon Valentina had landed countless times, was her signature, her punctuation mark. But this time it backfired. Grasso saw it, timed it, and jumped onto her back like a shadow. In seconds, she locked in the rear naked choke. The bullet had no escape. Blood flow halted. Tap. Silence. The arena froze. Grasso had done the unthinkable. Valentina Shevchenko, the sniper, the storm, the surgeon, had been submitted. It wasn't just an upset, it was a revolution. And yet in defeat, Valentina did not crumble. Her eyes didn't scream regret. They calculated. The fight wasn't over. It was only interrupted. She came back hungry. The rematch months later wasn't just for the title. It was for redemption, for pride, for the silence that follows failure. This time, Valentina looked different. Colder, sharper, faster. She opened with heavy strikes, landed a takedown, and took control. Grasso countered with a sharp left that dropped Valentina briefly, but the bullet rose unfazed. Round after round, they traded domination. Grappling, striking, chess at its deadliest. In round 3, Val nearly ended it with a brutal guillotine. In round 5, she nearly did it again with a choke and ground control. But then came the scorecards: 48-47 Shevchenko, 48-47 Grasso, 47-47, a split draw, a storm with no eye. Both walked away with bruises and glory, but the belt stayed with Grasso. For the first time in years, Valentina wasn't the one wearing gold. Yet the draw didn't break her, it rebuilt her. Even without the title, she still stood tall among gods. UFC President Dana White called her one of the most dominant champions we've ever had. Joe Rogan echoed it louder: the most technically skilled female fighter on earth. And they weren't wrong, because Valentina's legacy wasn't made in a moment. It was built in the blood and bones of 20 years. Over 500 fights across 4 disciplines, across 3 continents, and against all odds. Rewind time, and you'll see the real structure of this warrior. Valentina didn't just train martial arts, she lived it. Her life was designed around perfection. Every movement, every strike, every breath was calculated. Pavlo Fedotov, her lifelong coach, once said, "She lives the life of a martial artist. Every day is about being better than yesterday." While others chased fame, she chased form. Even outside the cage, Valentina trained. She learned to shoot firearms with elite precision, eventually becoming a certified pistol expert. Her Glock tattoo wasn't decoration, it was declaration. The bullet wasn't a name, it was an identity. And that discipline? It stretched far beyond violence. Valentina earned a degree in film direction, mastered multiple dance forms like salsa and tango, and spoke 4 languages fluently: Russian, Spanish, English, and Thai. She painted, she hiked, she meditated. She gave back to women's charities and trained with her sister Antonina across oceans. She wasn't just a fighter, she was a modern-day samurai, body, mind, and spirit. There's an old Muay Thai saying, "You train not to fight, but to master yourself." Valentina embodied that philosophy. In a world drunk on fame, she chased purpose. She didn't just want to win, she wanted to deserve it. Still, no matter how far she soared, one presence always walked beside her: Antonina, her older sister. The two began training together under their mother's watchful eye, sparring and growing as mirror images. While Valentina became the icon, Antonina stood in her corner, not just as blood, but as backbone. At UFC 255, they made history as the first sisters to compete on the same card. It wasn't just a novelty, it was destiny fulfilled. Together, they represented what few could understand. Fighting wasn't a job, it was a shared soul. They trained together, bled together, rose together. Valentina's relationship with Muay Thai was spiritual. She spent years in Thailand, absorbing the culture, training at Tiger Muay Thai in Phuket, and even learning the language. Muay Thai is not just a sport, she once said, it's a religion. That reverence is what separated her. Fighters learn strikes. Valentina learned systems, how to dismantle people layer by layer. Inside the octagon, her striking wasn't flashy. It was flawless. Footwork like brushstrokes, counters like reflex. Every fight was a painting, and every opponent left marked. They knew what was coming, they just couldn't stop it. But even legends carry scars. Years of battles took a toll: injuries, setbacks, media scrutiny. The crown grew heavier, and when Alexa Grasso took it, many wondered if Valentina would fade like others before her. But she didn't vanish. She recalibrated, watched, trained, waited. At 36, while others slowed down, Valentina sharpened her blade. The trilogy loomed. And it wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about validation, about showing the world that greatness doesn't blink when it bleeds, that true champions rise not when everything goes right, but when everything goes wrong, and they keep standing anyway. So now we wait for the final war, for the bullet's third shot at Grasso. Is this her last ride? Or is it the spark before another rain? Questions swirl like smoke. The world watches. But if history teaches us anything, it's this: never bet against Valentina Shevchenko, because she's not just built to fight, she's built to endure, to evolve, to finish what she starts. Whether she holds the title again or not, one truth remains. She has already carved her place in combat's cathedral. The only question now is how loud her last shot will echo. There's a moment every fighter faces. When the applause fades, the gold is gone, and the world starts looking past you. That moment tests the soul. Some crumble, some vanish. But Valentina Shevchenko? She sharpened her silence. There's something eerie about the way she absorbs loss, not with denial, but with calculation. She watches the tape, she finds the gap, and she returns as something far more dangerous. Not a fighter seeking redemption, a warrior upgrading her code. They say you're only as good as your last fight. But what if your last fight was only the blueprint for vengeance? And make no mistake, this is about vengeance, not the petty kind, not emotional, strategic vengeance, the kind that brews in shadows, forged in cold repetition. In her remote training camps, far from flashing cameras and casual opinions, Valentina rebuilds like a military weapon, recalibrating her timing, reinforcing her gas tank, reprogramming muscle memory. She doesn't just want to win the trilogy with Alexa Grasso. She wants to shut the door so violently that nobody ever questions her reign again. And with each whisper of doubt, each clickbait headline predicting her downfall, the bullet loads another round. Because what the world forgets is that legacy isn't always visible. It's not just about belts on walls or shiny records. Legacy is how you haunt your division even when you're not holding gold. How your name gets whispered in locker rooms before training. How your footwork shows up in the drills of your enemies. Valentina's legacy isn't theoretical, it's surgical. She made opponents second-guess themselves mid-fight. She broke game plans before the first exchange, and whether she retires with the belt or not, her ghost will remain in every feint, every southpaw switch, every spinning back kick. But perhaps the greatest weapon she's ever possessed isn't physical at all, it's her mental fortress. Daniel Cormier once said, "She's always in control. It's intimidating." Joe Rogan called her unshakable. Fighters don't just prepare for her skill set, they prepare for her silence. That cold stare, that stillness before the storm. Valentina doesn't scream. She doesn't taunt. She just stares until the crowd forgets to breathe. It's the psychological warfare of a woman who's faced war zones far more violent than the octagon and survived. She doesn't fight to entertain. She fights to master, and that's what truly terrifies her opponents. Away from the lights, Valentina continues her strange, beautiful life. Her hobbies are a contradiction: painting, hiking, yoga, firearms. She reads, she dances. She doesn't need fame. She needs focus. Every passion she pursues strengthens another part of her arsenal. Her shooting improves her patience. Her dancing sharpens her balance. Her painting unlocks visualization. And when she speaks, it's with the deliberate cadence of someone who sees further than most. She's not chasing moments. She's chasing mastery. She once said, "Martial arts is not a job. It's my religion, my lifestyle, my philosophy." That's not branding. That's blood truth. In a world full of loud promises and fragile egos, Valentina walks differently. She's not loud because she doesn't need to be. Her resume screams for her. 8 championship victories, 7 defenses, multiple disciplines conquered. From Taekwondo to Muay Thai, from Peru to Thailand, from Bishkek to Vegas, her journey wasn't about chance. It was about choosing the hard road every time. She could have stopped after losing to Nunes. She could have quit after being submitted. But legends don't quit. They recalculate. And every time she steps into the cage, she brings not just skill, but centuries of warrior code with her. You can see it in her preparation. No shortcuts, no gimmicks. Just ruthless repetition. Her sparring is focused. Her interviews brief. Her eyes deadlocked on details. If she fights Grasso again, she won't just adjust. She'll transform. The same way she transformed after Nunes. The same way she erased Carmouche. This isn't a career revival. This is what she was always built for. A trilogy. A final reckoning. The bullet misfired once. The second round was a draw. But the third? That's the bullet's favorite number. And when she fires this time, it won't be to graze. It'll be to end. But what happens after that final shot? Retirement? Transition? Maybe. She's 36. She's done it all. But Valentina's not wired for ordinary endings. If she walks away, she won't vanish. She'll evolve. Coach, mentor, author, maybe a tactician behind another great fighter. But don't expect her to fade quietly. She's too sharp for that, too complete. Legends don't die in octagons. They reincarnate into the shadows of the next generation. And you can bet every woman chasing the flyweight throne will study her tapes, try to mimic her stance, her angles, her aura. But none will duplicate her discipline. As fans, we love violence, we love victory, but what we remember most are the icons who became myths, the ones who taught us something deeper than sport. Valentina Shevchenko is one of those rare warriors. Her name isn't just in record books, it's carved into the spine of women's MMA. She didn't just break opponents, she broke limitations. She proved that elegance and brutality could coexist, that a woman could be as technical as a surgeon and as cold as a sniper. She's not just the bullet, she's the blueprint, the storm, the silence before greatness. So now, as we await the final chapter, one question hangs in the air like a blade. Will she rise once more, or has the bullet fired its last? That uncertainty is what makes legends immortal. The anticipation, the suspense, the sense that something monumental still lurks beneath the surface. Maybe she'll reclaim the crown, maybe she won't. But in either case, the legacy is sealed. And as the cage door closes one more time, the world will watch with bated breath. Because when Valentina Shevchenko locks eyes with destiny, one truth remains. Every shot she takes echoes forever.